Machuca, and we're going to cross the table now where my colleague James Creedon is here with our Truth or Fake program. This is the daily fact-checking segment in association with the France 24 observers. And you're starting with a picture that's making the rounds on the internet that claims to show a children's slide here in Paris. It has Mayor Anne Hidalgo under fire, getting a lot of criticism.
Get yourself ready for this, Charlie. It's a shocking enough image for a children's slide, right? Can we see it? We can see me, but not the slide.
There we
are.
Oh.
Now, right, it's a pretty unorthodox children's slide, and what the tweet said is, "Ça va, Hidalgo?" I'm like, what is going on, Hidalgo? Anne Hidalgo is the mayor of Paris. What is it with these new toys in a school in the 7th arrondissement, right? That is his daughter's school. So that was the accusation. It then sort of went off like a wildfire around social media. This is a far-right politician talking about these pseudo-feminists, Anne Hidalgo, are destroying our society. This is imposing a sort of pornographic environment in our schools. It is destroying parental authority. So you can see the tone and the tenor of some of the reactions. Now, unsurprisingly, perhaps, if you sort of thought about it a little bit, that it's quite unlikely, even in the most liberal-minded of societies, that you would allow a pornographic children's slide to be installed in a school. So reverse image search brings us back to the facts and the reality. This was on a film set, right?
Okay.
In Maple Ridge, British Columbia in Canada, right? So that's the truth of it. But if you go back up to the original tweet and if you look at the commentary, what you find is about 50% of the comments believe this. Another percentage is sort of are asking the question, could this be fake? And then others are actually linking to the story that is the real story, right? It's big Asian comedy, JFC leans into its raunchy side in Vancouver. That's the headline to the actual story. So it's confusing, and the problem is people believed it. This is a senior editor at Le Figaro newspaper who is apologising on Twitter for having believed it, fallen into the trap, and tweeted it. So again, it points out the risk of an account that has a certain amount of satirical content tweeting stuff out like this. He knows, in fact, that it generated a lot of bad buzz. He hasn't deleted it. And if you look further down at an article such as this is the reality about fake news. It travels 6 times faster on Twitter than truthful news, much more interaction. So somebody trying to generate interaction for their account, whether the joke was a sort of an innocent joke or whether it was done in a way that, was trying to generate traffic and interaction, it works in any case in terms of having the story spread. Now, why might it be believable? Stories such as this, Anne Hidalgo has been criticised, as has Paris City Hall, for the Jeff Koons statue of tulips near the Champs-Élysées. Those tulips were accused of looking like 11 anuses, colourful anuses, on stems. And it's true that, it's not necessarily the most faithful rendering of a tulip. And people kind of said, look, this is obscene. So because of stories like that, because of hashtags about where Anne Hidalgo is criticised under the hashtag Saccage Paris, or vandalism of Paris, for, cheaper, less beautiful street furniture, for a general sense that the city is being vandalised by a whole lot of bad taste projects, that makes the obscene children's slide a little bit more believable, even though we should all probably have realised that's not true.
People are always a little more sensitive when it comes to anything involving children as well.
That's true.
Next, you're going to talk about the popular Korean series Squid Game. We were just discussing this upstairs before we went on air as well. It's taken over everything.
Yes. Let's take a look at an extract of Squid Game.
So slightly gruesome clip there that you chose.
just a tad. And it has generated a huge amount of commentary. And where you have a huge amount of commentary, you obviously have huge amounts nowadays of fake news. So there's all sorts of varieties of fake news. No, the director didn't take 13 years to write the series. He wrote it 13 years ago. There's a huge amount of this going on. Some of it is because of satire. This is a Belgian satirical paper saying how Dutch is going to be replaced in school by Korean because it's been such a success. So you have fake stories, satirical stories that are being believed. And actually, this is the fact-checking by 20 Minutes media here, saying that they have actually verified this because people thought it was untrue. There have been notices going around there was a notice in one school in Belgium warning parents because of the fact that school children were imitating the series in school. And so that is actually true. This is a Belgian media talking about the fact that children have been imitating. And, so it is entirely real that an increasing amount of violence in films, in virtual reality, has ethical questions because children are ever more kind of caught up in their virtual reality and could actually act out on violence.
Personally, I would not be letting my children watch that show, as good as it is, not for kids.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
But thank you,
Thanks,
James, with that edition of Truth or Fake. And we're going to take a quick break here, but I'll be back in just a